Well, that was a nice opening, tough and tender, as you're fixing your microphone, and I'm putting my water behind my little buddy here. But I had to hide it. Someone else take it and drink it. Welcome to Tough and Tender. I'm your host, Rick Drayson, along with my beautiful co-host, Tuler, who's here with me, and we're going to talk about couples relationships today and certain things that
we always
work.
Talk about couples.
Well, that's what we're here for, right?
I know.
Okay.
This is the purpose.
But the thing today is kind of like arguments, and I'm going to have an argument with what we're going to talk about. I don't believe in arguments. I think that arguments are a waste of time, and they don't get anywhere, and everybody gets all riled up over something, and then you end up having a solution like a day later, and you should never have argued.
I don't think anybody likes to argue.
Really? Lawyers do.
Well, no, but in the end of the day, no one really likes to argue.
No.
And when the argument occurs, then they have solutions. We need to come up with some solution to help some people to resolve the arguments.
Or a way to avoid the argument.
Yeah.
My best way, years ago when I would argue with somebody, meaning an ex-wife or whatever, I get up and leave.
You argue with your ex-wife?
Well, that happens.
Shocker.
That's why they're exes. I'd get up and take a ride somewhere and come back 3 hours later and it kind of just settled down.
Is it because they forgot about the argument? Or you just cool it off and forgot about it?
I think you just cool off. The argument never goes away, but you cool down, and so maybe at that point you can discuss it better than when you're hot-headed. It's hard to make a point.
It's hard to make a point. People do shut down.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about it. They get too excited over this.
Exactly.
You can't solve anything when you overheat.
We've never had that problem.
No, we haven't.
Why is that?
We agree to disagree.
That's right. Okay, that's probably what it is. All right, so we have a question
argue.
here. This is a pretty long question.
Number two?
Yeah, there's no number one. I guess not. All right, so number
was.
two.
For it.
Go ahead.
My husband and I are complete opposites, but we love that about each other. We argue all the time over little stuff, money, chores, kids, etc. It seems like we argue every day. Neither of us wants to get a divorce, but we can't take the arguing anymore. We've tried spending time apart, day and nights without kids, but we still argue. Any advice to bring peace?
Yeah, I have plenty. First of all, if you're two opposites, what are you doing together?
Well, you know how they say opposite attract?
I don't believe that.
But they attract in the beginning,
Yeah.
and they get all excited about it, and then at some point they get annoyed by it.
Yeah, and what was cute in the beginning ends up being irritating.
And it does.
I mean, you laugh at all my jokes, and they're cute, and I hope that you continue to laugh from the next 40 years.
It's not because you're opposite,
No.
because I like them.
But the thing is, if they're arguing when they're going out, and they're arguing when they're doing this, and they take a date out without the kids, and they're still arguing, obviously something's not right. They're not meant to be together. And if they're staying together, chances are they're staying together just because of money issues.
Well, I don't know. There's always a compromise solution out there. And they have to find that middle grounds to compromise. And one is a slob, and the other one is an organized person. They have to kind of find a way to live with each other. So she can bribe him to get organized with something, and because it's really impossible to live with a slob. Right?
Oh, totally. What about the TV show The Odd Couple? Do you remember that? Jack
no.
Klugman and Tony Randall, they were roommates, and one was a slob and was a neatnik.
And what happened?
And the sitcom was all about the difference between the two of them. But they got along as friends. But the living arrangement was like really bad. There's a lot of issues in any relationship when you're together with somebody that is going to create an argument. And sometimes you're better off, for example, if you don't take the trash out, you tell the person to take the trash out. Well, eventually you take the trash out yourself. You know they're not going to do it, no matter what.
You get tired of arguing.
You get tired of the argument, yeah. And so the job is done, it's over with.
Unless you agree in the beginning. I mean, you sit down and you cut it and say, okay, this is your chore, this is my chore.
Haven't we tried that with our kids?
It works usually when it's logical.
It does to a point until they forget.
Unless we pay them for it.
They want to be paid for it, that's exactly right.
Well, you know what, some couples do that too. He's going to take the trash out, or she's going to cook, and you can bribe each other with sex if that's what it takes. That's fine.
Yeah, but that's even, when you do that, that's not good either. Because
But you solve the problem, the argument is over, and you may even enjoy it at the end.
No, you create a new problem because you're having sex just because of an argument.
No, it's a bribe.
It's a bribe. That's not the way you want to have sex. You want to enjoy it. You don't want to think back to your head, oh, I'm doing this because we're mad.
Well, it's just a way of avoiding it. But, if you don't want to compromise, how do you solve that? That takes us to the third question.
Why are people against compromise, and why has this been turned into a negative thing these days? I don't think it's negative to compromise. I think compromising is something, we do this all day long in business and other things that we do. Sometimes you have to meet halfway because one person goes all the way, the other one thinks that they're being stepped on because they got taken advantage of.
Well, no one is perfect. Okay.
Well,
so
I
we
come
have-
close to it.
Right, and
Okay.
so do I. So the 5% of that non-perfect part, you have to compromise. Either you compromise with it or you get out of the relationship.
Yeah.
But there's always something to compromise.
Sure.
I can't even bring you an example, but everyone knows their own little.
Well, we have issues between us where we need to compromise on things that you want to do that I haven't thought of, but I think, okay, I'll go do it, and then I end up enjoying myself.
That's true,
That's
and there's certain
compromising.
things you don't want to do, and I'm okay with that. You don't want to go on a cruise, okay?
Yeah, okay.
We'll go elsewhere.
But we'll go to a musical.
We'll go to a musical. See,
right.
that's compromise.
That's
It's not a
compromising.
bad thing.
That's exactly how
Some
it
people
works.
thinking it as losing.
All right. Number 4. This is interesting. I like this. Go ahead. You can read it in English.
My wife and I are both stubborn, and we never back down during argument. After bickering, we feel bad. So how do we keep small issues from spiraling out of control?
Spiraling, that means
out
it's,
of control.
it's like growing. Well, there's something there because my grandmother was very stubborn, and my mom was very stubborn. My grandmother went 8 years without talking to her sister, who lived directly across the street. And my mom would come visit my grandmother, which is her mother, and she'd go visit her aunt, which was my grandmother's sister, and she'd be between the two of them because they wouldn't talk to each other. Stubbornness didn't do any good, and one of them passed away, and that was it.
And you can never solve it after
No,
they
this
pass
has happened
away.
in my family with a lot of people. And the stubbornness, they take it to the grave. And it's not healthy because the person living feels bad because they never got to bury the hatchet and say about something, So when you're stubborn, you're really only hurting yourself at times. You have to get past that because stubbornness is just something that's just not healthy.
And a lot of times, stubbornness is not really explained right, or people that are stubborn don't know they're stubborn. They think they're just right. They correct in their statement. They don't know they're stubborn.
I had an uncle like that, and sometimes he was right, and most of the time he wasn't. But there's nothing worse than I've heard this statement. There's nothing worse than a know-it-all who is sometimes right, because that's just enough to make him right where he thinks he's right all the time.
And I think there's so many little things that couples argue about.
Yeah.
And if you identify those little things and don't get stubborn about it, and go along with it, that prevents all kind of arguments.
Totally. The thing is,
Little things.
Yeah, little things. It also gets back to the thing we talked about before with respect. You have to respect the other person's opinion.
Right.
Because in their mind, they feel that their opinion is valid and they believe a certain way. You don't want to belittle them for it and be stubborn about it because maybe they have logic behind
And
it.
you don't have to argue about everything. You need to pick your battles. I mean, let's say we're going in a car somewhere. We're driving, and I think you need to go this way. You think you need to go that way, and I don't want to argue about that. I'll let you drive. You think this is the way? Let's go. Even if we get lost, maybe we'll find a new place we've never seen, and we're out there for adventure.
That's a good way to look at it.
Okay, so why to argue?
That's right.
We might actually have fun.
Let me ask you this, number 5, is it worth a breakup or will it be brushed under the carpet when you argue?
I just solve the argument. No, don't brush it under the carpet. It's going to stay there. It's going to stink. It's going to come up.
And it's also not worth the breakup because breaking up with somebody because of an argument is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Exactly.
The problem will go away and come back and go away. Solve it and move on. Don't break up over it because then you'll feel really bad.
Unless it's something major. But breaking up, you have to think that it's a very quick to break up and really, really difficult to come back to it after you cool off and you think, oh my gosh, what did I just do?
Exactly.
Okay, and it's not a good thing.
We don't have those problems.
We don't.
No.
No.
We haven't.
No, we don't.
No, that's just because
We should never have.
Because we compromise. And you're not stubborn. And neither am I, of course.
We talk about stuff. We have conversations, long
We do.
conversation about things. Sometimes we don't agree,
All right,
we agree, but
here's the thing when talking, and for you people out there who want to talk about things, there are certain times of the day you can bring things up and certain times of the day you can't. First thing in the morning when I crawl out of bed and I go into the kitchen, I don't want to deal with anything until I wake up.
No one
I have a
does.
cat and a dog there and 2 turtles that want to deal with me, and I tell them, just relax. I just woke up. I need to get things ready, or it'll be an argument. And I don't want to argue with the dog or the turtles.
or during.
Or during, right.
Yeah.
So once you wake up, we sit down and we talk. We can talk about anything, but certain times of the day or late at night when you're really tired from a full day, sometimes you just don't want to make that decision until you wake up the next morning.
Exactly.
Or maybe a week later.
You need to if you know each other, you feel each other.
Yeah.
Know when a person comes from work and is really upset about something in the long day of work or hungry or something, you feel that, you sense that, you get to know each other, so
Yeah.
you know when to bring it up. Maybe you should eat first before I bring up the question, and then this whole argument is going to get avoided.
Oh, you know about me and the eating then.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing on an empty stomach.
Nothing.
You know, and then the worst thing you could say to create an argument is, I need to talk to you about something. Because,
so.
Yeah, so, by the way. Because in your mind you're thinking, oh boy, here it goes. It's going to be something wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
I told you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So basically what I'm saying is, what you're saying is, if you're going to argue, keep it civil, have a discussion, not an argument.
Argue, don't fight.
Don't fight. Don't raise your voice to the highest levels, because it's unpleasant, and then you just want to walk away.
There's no reason. I mean, when you shout, it means you're out of words. And the only thing you can get into the other person, and get your point across is by screaming and shouting and fighting. That's not the way to go.
No, and the other person shuts down when they hear the shouting. They don't like the loud noise. It's exactly true. All right, I think that pretty much exhausts the argument situation, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, good. Because there's something here I wanted to touch on. We'll do an episode on this as well. But I had seen some things on Facebook that made me just feel a little bit weird. And it's about internet dating and some of the negative sides of it. You know, there was a girl on my Facebook who, I have a lot of fitness models, and Mike Glass was on, he knows about this too. They were very, very strange women to deal with. Am I right, Mike? Yeah, they have certain egos and certain needs, and they're very insecure. And they'll plaster their picture all over Facebook and poses and look at me and look at me and look at my butt and look at my legs and look how sexy I am. And then they'll get guys who will write to them and say, oh, you're really sexy, you know, I really want to meet you. And then they complain about guys are stalking me on Facebook. Well, be careful what you put on there, because it's a menu.
Totally.
It's a road sign. You're asking for it. You're asking for guys to say these things because you're insecure and you want the attention. And when they give you the attention, then you get put off by it, because then you get negative attention, which is more attention.
Yeah.
So be careful what you do. I just had a friend recently who disappeared for about a week, and she's a fitness model, and no one knows what happened to her. It was really, really touchy. It was scary. She had a stalker. She's on Facebook. Come and find out she's okay. She's in a hospital. She had a little bit of a problem with some medications that she had, but we were all scared that someone got her. And it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Social networking can create a lot of problems, and if you're that type of person where you need to be bare-chested or whatever and be seen all the time, you're opening it up to the world. And the world, it says right now, there's your email address, your phone number, and everything they want. You're going to have a world of problems.
And don't put it on public Facebook.
Exactly.
I mean, there's close groups that you belong to, and everybody's doing that thing. But it's a closed group, and the general public can't see it. I mean, it's a different story. But if you're out there everywhere, it's just too much criminal minds.
It has nothing to do with the argument, because we got that out of the way. But I just saw this, and I wanted to bring it up because you people watch this, and I want you to be safe. And there's a lot of beautiful women in our business of fitness and bodybuilding and all that kind of stuff. And we give you credit for what you do. I mean, you look great. You're competing, and you're proud of what you achieved. And it's nice, and you can show it in such a manner where it's okay. But when it gets down to the selfies all day long in the bathroom mirror, showing yourself and your butt and this and that, you're going to attract a guy that you don't want to attract.
The wrong guy.
The wrong guy. So beware of that. It's the advice from the Rick. He knows, right?
Rick knows.
The Rick knows. I want to thank you for watching Tough and Tender, and my co-host, Ina Tuler, who is here with me.
Thank you for being here with us.
I want to bring up something else. Vincent, would you run my book, please? Because for those of you who want to get into shape and you want to go to a gym, I have a book on my website, rickdrason.com, and it's Bodybuilding for Dumbbells. It's a basic training book for bodybuilding, men and women from back in the golden era. What we use to get into shape is very simple. There's nothing complex about the training. It has a diet, nutrition, the whole thing. It'll take you through point A to every body part so that you can get yourself in shape. It's only $10. It's a download instantly to your desktop. I don't have hard copies yet because I didn't feel it was necessary to have you wait in the mail, but it is on there, rickdrason.com. And we can find you on Facebook as well?
Ina Tuler on Facebook.
And do we have a lot of selfies on there?
Yeah, but nice ones.
Okay, that's
yeah. You can also find me at on my company's website.
Yes.
www.emPOWERme.tv, and on Rick's Corners.
Yep.
On weekends.
And weekends.
Yes.
And you can find me also on Facebook, on Twitter, on Rick Drason Live on the same channel. rickscorner.com. We're up to 10 million viewers now. It's getting there. It's going really well. And stay tuned next week on Friday at 1 p.m. when we have Tough and Tender along with Rick and Ina Tuler. We'll talk about your personal problems in your relationships. And thanks for watching.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Hi, I'm Rick Drason, Tough and Tender. I'm here to answer all your questions on dating, relationships, the good side, the tough side, the tender side. Every Friday, 1 p.m. on emPOWERme.tv. I'd love for you to subscribe. I'll be here. We'll be discussing relationships and dating and all the good, the bad, the pitfalls, and the ugly of it. Stay tuned and watch me next Friday, 1 p.m. emPOWERme.tv. Subscribe now.